hearing a special use permit for VFW Post 1860 for establishment of a VFW lodge at 1847 North Rural Avenue. Ms. Berry.
Council is requested to approve a special use permit submitted by the VFW Post 1860 for establishment of a VFW lodge, the Assembly Hall, to be built at the same location before it was destroyed by fire and demolished in 2015. The proposed new lodge is designed to be elevated and designed to comply with current floodplain regulations. The Planning Commission recommended approval upon the following conditions. The lodge shall conform with all applicable town codes, including but not limited to zoning, noise, special event, and floodplain regulations. Council or other designated representatives may inspect the property at any reasonable time to ensure compliance with local regulations, including but not limited to the conditions placed on this special use permit.
Public hearing is now open. Has anyone signed up to speak?
There were not, Mr. Mayor.
Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion from the floor, please?
Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve a special use permit submitted by Samuel R. Miller, VFW Post 1860 for establishment of a VFW Lodge Assembly Hall at 1847 North Royal Avenue with the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission on November 28, 2018.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Berry?
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now we're moving into just the council approval for request a curb waiver for gutter requirements for the VFW Post 1860 lodge construction at 1847 North Royal Avenue. Mr. Mayor.
Council has received a request from the VFW Post to waive the requirement for the installation of curb and gutter at the construction of their new lodge at 1847 North Royal.
Ladies.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council approve the waiver of curb and gutter for the Samuel R. Miller VFW Post 1860 for the construction of their lodge at 1847 North Royal Avenue.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we amend the proposed motion to include curb and gutter along the North Royal Avenue only to enhance the rebuilt VFW Lodge.
Second. All right, we have an amended motion for the motion. It says curb and gutter on the main road. I guess that would be North Royal Avenue.
Yes.
Do we have a second? Any discussion on the amendment?
Yes. Second. Second.
Or you want to say any comments at all? Discussion?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
So as I said in work session, I'm against requiring the VFW to make any additional improvements that they were not required to do when the VFW stood originally before it burnt down in 2015. So what is being asked of council right now is a waiver because it took longer than expected for the VFW group to get the funds to be able to elevate the new building out of the floodplain, which is part of the new requirement, which they were not grandfathered into. Because of that, time lapsed where they had to come back before council and meet the existing requirements in code. So I'm not for making them, taking advantage is what I called in the work session, of the misfortune of the building burned down, and now making them comply with code and require them to spend the money to put in curb and gutter. I'm inclined to leave it as it is, just the way it was before it burnt down. If the business owners decide to put in curb and gutter on their own accord, then that's great. But in this particular case, because of the shortage of money, they've asked for the waiver of this code. And I want to pass it with the original motion and not the amendment.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I was a recipient in Iraq of Post 1860. They give us every month supplies that the Marines needed at Fallujah. I spent my time in Fallujah as a contractor, and I was very appreciative, especially since I'm a life member of Post 1860. And personally, I do not want to deteriorate from the building site as it is. Can you give me some pictures, please?
Yes, sir.
to remind everybody what the site looks like. I was also a member of the guiding committee that went down when we originally bought the original building on this site. And after many years, we enhanced this property in many ways. I'm also well aware of years ago, mud running down North Royal Avenue from the runoff from rains and citizens complaining. The town went to the expense of building curb and gutter down the entire east side of Royal Avenue to enhance that and relieve that runoff. There are two drains presently. The one coming off Depot Street, as you see there, and the one coming off the west side of North Royal has been installed, plus curb and gutter, all the way down. Now, this is the tunnel coming underneath the railroad tracks. As you can see there, there is no enhancement at all. And it's been like that for many years. I can go back probably at least 30 years that I remember as a member of the post-1860. Can you give me the next picture, please? This is, on the left side is post-1860s property line. And you see vehicles parked along. As Councilman Tewalt and I visited this area, all we could see was mud where they had enhanced some of it with bushes over the years and a picket fence. On the right side, there is no gutter, curb and gutter. On the left side, there is no curb and gutter. Now, it's my understanding that the engineering group was under some kind of misunderstanding that they needed curb and gutter all the way around the parking lot. That has been corrected by Jeremy Camp. They do not need curb and gutter there. So all we're asking for is to maintain the street. If you go to the Civil War marker on the picture, that is the west side. That is a house that is adjacent to the VFW property. And the resident there informed me that her yard is constantly soaked or underwater. Her backyard is the same. Now, the next picture shows, we went in, the Civil War picture. It's probably the first one, I don't know where you got it. I went in many years ago with the VFW membership and the Boy Scouts to enhance this area down there. We have tourists coming here all the time. We went to a lot of effort to install this as a Civil War marker. The crossing of the river from years ago at the bridge, it was a wooden bridge during the 1860s and many years thereafter. Now, if I read their declaration properly, they're saying they're going to fix the gravel road, they're going to put topsoil in, they're going to put grass seed in, and they're going to enhance all that. Now, if you look to the right where the picket fence is, that is an area where this is just, with the amount of rainwater we've had recently, it's just soft, completely soaked. On the left side, it's like a small pond. Now, they do get a great deal of runoff in that area. My final point would be that we are enhancing this area with a new building. Now, why would we not enhance the whole property? And I question, just like a month and a half ago, we required a resident of this town to put in curb and gutter on 2 new houses where they requested a waiver. We did not accept the waiver. We, as a council, took the position that since they were having issues, that we would provide them a leeway of 3 to 5 years, I forget the exact number of years, with a lien on their properties. Now, if I'm those people, residents of the town of Aurora, what would I think as a resident? I would think, why are they getting a special treatment and I'm different? Now, I'm telling you that when I look at this picture, we try to enhance that as members of post 1860. But we never do anything to enhance that piece of property other than a new building. That's kind of my suggestion. That's why I'm making this amendment. They have been given a waiver. They do not need curb and gutter around the parking lot. So their discussion about money, we reduced that. So that's my concern. That's why I made this amendment.
Mr. Mayor, any discussion on the amendment?
On the amendment?
On the amendment.
I agree with Mr. Sealock wholeheartedly. There was a picture that's not on there that we had taken right in front of where you saw that big white truck. All that where the tires on the left side, there was water standing about 3 or 4 inches deep all along that whole corridor from that underpass all the way down to where it outfalls at the entrance that's there at the present time. And it's nothing going to be a muddle. The people across the street using that to park there where they have that stone building across the street, and there was at least, what, 3 or 4 cars parked there, and there was already a mud hole in front of the building to begin with. So with me, I think that if we do anything, that would be our best requirement for this whole special use permit, would be to put the curb and gutter in. Because if they don't, I hate to see them put in $1 million building, whatever it's costing them, and then have a mud hole right in front of the building where you go into it. And to me, I cannot understand why they wouldn't even consider putting the curb and gutter in to begin with.
Councilman Best, on the amendment.
Yeah, just a couple questions or a couple clarifications. Number one, a question for town manager. If the VFW is still saying today, would we have the authority to be able to mandate them to put in curb and gutter? Could we go down there and say that there's a lot of water and we would like you to put in curb and gutter and we're going to mandate that you do so?
From my understanding, we would not have that authority.
So the only reason we have the ability to do so is because it burnt down and time lapsed the 2 years, and now we're going to use our authority to ask them to make them put in curb and gutter. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're following standard protocol here.
Okay. So I just want to be clear because I understand what Councilman Tewalt and Councilman Sealock would like, just as we all would like it, but we are taking advantage of a situation where the building burnt down. They had to spend additional funds to elevate their building out of the floodplain so they can build in the same spot, and then we're going to use our government authority to compel them to build, to put in curb and gutter along the roadway. So I just want to make that clear, that even though I may agree with Councilman Sealock that there is a problem with the water down there, had the building not burnt down, we could not compel them to do so. And now we're going to take advantage of that situation and make them put it in at their expense. And use the term, or use the pronoun of we. There is no we, it's their money, not the town's money, it's their money that they're going to have to be spending to do so. And so I want to be clear on those 2 points.
Mr. Mayor?
Excuse me just 1 second. Did you want to make a comment on the amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Question for Joe. Joe, when was the curb and gutter on the other side of the tracks on North Rural Avenue? When was that put in? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was probably at least 5 years ago. I actually don't know the actual date. I can get that information.
And who paid for that?
Honestly, that's a question I do not have the answer at this moment.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the town did that. I think the town paid for that curb and gutter. So, taking advantage or being fair, why wouldn't the town continue that curb and gutter right on down to the very end? If those property owners up on the other end of North Rural Avenue did pay for their curb and gutter, why would we have to make the VFW pay for their curb and gutter? So it won't be fair to put it on both sides of the road all the way down, continue. And I agree with Jake. I think we're taking advantage of a situation. I mean, if they would have been able to rebuild within a 2-year period, we wouldn't be discussing this right now. And again, I think if the town paid for that curb and gutter off of Shenandoah Avenue, all the way down to the bridge, I think they ought to go and continue all the way down and be done.
Councilman Tewalt.
It's not that I disagree with either Mr. Mezza or Mr. Holloway. The point is, that we have an ordinance. Our ordinance states that curb and gutter is required for this particular special use permit, for them to do that. We're not taking advantage of anyone. Well, Bill and I are just saying that maybe they could relinquish some of the curb and gutter around the parking lot and put the curb and gutter out on the street where it really is needed. It's not needed at the parking lot because it's already got good drainage. We looked at that. It's got the fall that the water will run right on down into the field next to the river. They could eliminate it's only about, I don't know how far it would be, about 100, maybe 110 feet from the railroad track down. And if they would just remove some on the backside of the parking area, then they could pay for that. It would cost them a nickel more than it's already costing. So that's what we're recommending, that they cut out some of the curbing in the parking lot and put it in front of the building so it would enhance the looks of their building, because it's going to look like a mud hole if somebody doesn't take it in hand and take care of the problem. It's already there.
So with me, our ordinance allows for a waiver for special situations and things that come up, so that we have the opportunity when things come up like this, that we can say, okay, you don't have to. In this particular instance, I agree with Jay Holloway. I agree with everybody up here that it would be nice to have it. I also agree that it's almost like taking advantage of the situation, because they weren't going to need it if they rebuilt in a couple of years. And they've been there for however many years. If it was a mud hole, the mud hole's been there for 30 plus years. So I disagree with the amendment.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with the discussion that's going on, but it's long past due in this community. As a small child, I was moved to Winchester and spent a lot of years in Winchester. And moved back here 40-some years ago. The problem I see is that we always accept eyesores. It's been an eyesore down there for a lot of years. The members of the VFW have recognized that. We tried to enhance it. We bought a dilapidated building, enhanced that building. Like I said, they are putting grass and seed and doing something with that gravel road, but where is the water going to stop? Right there. I've already seen it.
So I have
It's been like that my whole life, ever since I've been a member down there. That's why a parking lot was put in. I'm saying that if they're going to enhance the building, the cost of the enhancement also includes beautification of the area they're in. We wouldn't expect a new builder to come in and put up a brand new building without proper curb and gutter. Now, we have an ordinance or we don't have an ordinance. Either you're going to honor it or you don't honor it. You follow through. I understand waivers. Those are the exceptions. And they are enhancing the area with a new building. Take care of the problem, or we continue to have an eyesore as usual. And our tourists, what kind of impression do they get when they come into our community and they ride down there, and what do they see? A soggy bottom. That the opportunity is here to fix the problem, then fix it.
So you said
Councilman
sorry.
Thompson.
Sorry. So you said that
Board recognizes you.
you guys enhanced the property. So we were enhancing the property those years ago. Why didn't curb and gutter get installed then?
I don't think anyone can absolutely answer that question tonight, Councilman Thompson.
Mr. Mayor, I can answer that question because I was public works director. It was not required during that period of time, and that's why it was never put in.
Right, but if you're saying our property flooded all of the time, it was terrible, it was an eyesore, I don't understand why it wasn't done before, even by I don't know, the members or whoever does fundraising, I don't know how this works.
Again, during that particular period of time, we never put in curb and gutter anywhere from all that was free. And that's why it was never done. Everybody had to pay their share. We had a program that if you wanted curb and gutter, you paid a certain percentage of the cost, and the town would install it. The property owner was required to pay a percentage of that. And it was all on a volunteer basis, and they never volunteered, so it was never put in.
All right, thank you for the history on that.
One last question,
One
Mr.
second. Councilman Gillespie?
Mr. Mayor, I too will not be voting for the amendment tonight. I take the same stance as Councilman Meza does. If they would have rebuilt this within the 2-year time frame, it would not have been required at all. So, you know, I feel that we're making them go above and beyond what they need to do on this issue. So.
One more. Vice Mayor?
I checked with Mr. Camp this morning. They didn't even volunteer to, we have an agreement now in the town that we go 50-50 if they qualify. And I didn't check all the regulations on it. But there again, if they're enhancing the property, enhance the whole property. And there is a voluntary cooperative move between the town and the builder. So I'll bring that up again.
All right, we're going to vote on the amendment to require curb and gutter. Ms. Berry, for the amendment only.
This is just for the amendment to require curb and gutter. Councilman Gillespie.
No.
Councilman Holloway.
No.
Councilman Meza.
No?
Vice Mayor Sealock.
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt.
Yes.
Councilman Thompson.
No.
Amendment fails. Back to the original motion to waive the curb and gutter request. Ms. Berry?
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock.
No.
Councilman Tewalt.
No.
Councilman Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 11 passed.